I love being at the start of like the hill climb where everything you hear is new information.
Because they don't find that fun. They think that that's not fun for anyone.
It's okay to want to get better at painting.
All these competition painters who like have won multiple Golden Demons and Slayer Swords and stuff like that and all these other competitions, they didn't just accidentally like get good.
I still have days where I'm like, you know what, I can't bother to do anything. Like I'm just like, I just want to sit here and dry brush something or make some bases. I don't feel in the right place to paint.
It triggers some warning lights.
Hello everyone and welcome to Paint Perspective, episode 114. In this episode, we're going to be talking about why it's okay to want to get better at Warhammer painting. We'll expand on that later in the show, of course. What up, boys?
That's a really short intro.
Was it short?
Yeah.
Is it?
Normally you're like, and this, and then this coming up, and this, and this. But like, we've not really got much to do this week.
It's a slow week.
Building the suspense.
Yeah. We've got Patreon post show later and da-da-da-da.
We've done it all now, so...
Yeah, there you go. That's my version of
Do you want to do the intro? Go on, you do the intro.
Yeah.
Go on, live, off the cuff. Ready?
Right.
Ready, and go.
Welcome, guys. This is my name is George, and we are back at episode 113 of
14.
40. No, it's not
114.
114 of Paint Perspective podcast, and today we're going to be talking about why it's okay to get better at miniature painting, and stick around for the Patreon post show, and we're going to be talking about loads of other stuff. Welcome.
Thanks, Joe.
That's my impression. I think that's a good impression on the fly. Like, no prep.
That's good. Uncanny, yeah.
No prep.
I think the audio listeners don't actually know what just happened. They're like, just assume that was me.
Yeah. Just to explain, that was
the echo of the room.
Yeah, that wasn't George doing the intro twice, just for the audio
Yeah.
listeners.
If you're listening on Spotify, that was actually Joe.
Yeah.
It's up to you to guess which parts.
If you don't believe it, go to the video.
Yeah.
We're not lying.
I'm not doing a version. Just going to put it out
And
there.
now James is going to do an impression.
No, I'm not doing a version.
I think that was a good impression, personally. But we'll let the listeners decide.
Okay. Hobby updates. Has anyone been...
We should do an episode all having to do impressions of each other.
Can we swap seats?
Yeah. And then we have to dress and act and talk like each other for a whole episode. Maybe next like April
Christmas
Fools
or something. Yeah.
April Fools, I like that.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Just a little treat. Just a little treat for everyone.
Yeah.
This is what James would look like as Santa.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
How's the hobby been?
Good. Yeah, really good actually. I've been painting loads. It's been really productive actually. Kind of ties into obviously the topic this week, but having the two different sort of releases of creativity, as in one high end and one more just for fun and gaming, is actually really good.
Just to update everyone on that a little bit briefly, because we will talk about it more. But what do you mean by that? Because in case I haven't heard previous episodes,
I always used to struggle jumping between painting armies and painting my competition stuff, or painting just high end as best as I can. And I think I needed something that was less intense and less focused, that was more for fun than being painting sharp, neat, smooth, clean, everything as much as possible. So I got back into BFG, otherwise known as Battlefleet Gothic, Big Friendly Giant.
Just to clarify for everyone, these two dropped BFG as a shorthand for Battlefleet Gothic, just in conversation earlier, like it was normal, and I had no idea what they were on about. Thought they were talking about the book.
Well, James dropped it casually, and then I thought he was talking about.
But you
the book.
adopted it.
And then he said it so many times now that it's just sort of happened.
It's sunk in. It's sunk in.
Yeah. So I wasn't aware that was the official short.
There is another acronym of BFG, but I'm not gonna repeat that one because it's got a naughty word in it.
Yeah, so, don't say that.
Yeah, from Doom.
Save that for the Patreon post show.
Yeah.
We don't swear on that either, actually, do we?
No.
Family friendly.
Yeah, always.
And when we do accidentally swear, or we have Tommy Soul on, George just George censors it with the worst sound known to man.
Yeah, apparently.
I've been using that sound for like 2 years and no one has said anything.
Yeah. I know, but I think because the swearing was so sporadic, you sort of hear it once and you go, that was weird, and then by the end of the episode you've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
But when it happened a lot in the Tommy episode, I think people were like, what is that?
I've overstimulated with that sound.
Yeah.
But no, I've been having a lot of fun just painting my Battlefleet Gothic and working on those to a point, and then fluctuating and spending other time on stuff that's more intense. So I have this weekend I basically I made a list of all my loose ends. I think it's quite rewarding. to
We
do
spoke
that.
about this at the start of the year.
Yeah,
Did we?
Do you remember? Yeah, we spoke about some loose ends at the start of the year.
yeah. Well,
Let's not talk about the start of the year because I remember what my hobby goals for the year were.
Yeah.
And if let me tell you, if we did a halfway through like catch up on hobby goals, I'd be 0 for 3 at the minute.
Well, allow me to intersect because I remember at the start of the year talking about hobby goals, and myself included, to be fair, talking about loose ends from last year and wanted to wrap those up before we carried on with new stuff. I can almost guarantee that all of us have not finished any of them.
Didn't I say I didn't have any loose ends because I didn't start it?
Yeah.
So I'm ahead on that. I don't have any loose ends.
Well, I've got.
I do now actually, but I don't have any left over from last year, at least. So I'm winning in that respect.
Well, you say that, but I'm
Sort of.
I'm doing the proverbial submarine at the minute because I've hit the depths, yeah, and now I'm starting to surface because on my to-do list of loose ends, I feel really, really bad because I've got that Night Lord Terminator, beautiful model that Simon created in a skill swap for him basically doing that model, creating that model, and created my Astrath for me, which I haven't painted because I've obviously not going to touch that until I've done justice to the model that Simon made for himself. And that's been sat there a while. And obviously we've had loads of projects ongoing, loads of things happening. I'm not going to make excuses. It's just that I started painting it. I accidentally cracked the cape, which I felt horrendous on. And I've really, my sculpting, I can do like the undersuit armor, the rubberized armor, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not like, my sculpting is not to the point where I can like sculpt a face or hair or cape or all this kind of stuff. Or maybe hair I can do, but not like a cape or something like that. So I've been trying loads of different putties to try and fix the crack because I don't want to send it back to him half painted, and then I just didn't want to do that. So it kind of flummoxed me for a little bit. If I'm going to use that word,
It's a good word.
Yeah, it's a good word. Yeah,
Flummoxed.
yeah. So
It's a bit of a mix, the vocab on this podcast, because James will either like throw in a word that doesn't mean what he says at all,
Yeah.
or occasionally like a new one will surface.
Yeah.
Or he'll pull a word that you haven't heard in ages, but it fits perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a real
Such as flummox.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I finally rolled the sleeves up and thought I'm going to tackle this thing because I want to do justice on it for Simon. And this weekend I spent ages testing on some bits. Basically, what I'd done is I cracked some plastic card, and then I tried to fill the gap and
Put it back together.
yeah, basically put it back together. I did that with a couple of different putties and worked out. And there's this really good Tamiya one that I've been using. It's mega. Like literally, I'm going to use it always moving forward now when I come to do sculpting and stuff. But I fixed the cape, and then I thought, right, that really fired me up. So I just spent the whole of Saturday and a bit of Sunday just really getting the paint down on and pushing this thing along further for him, which I've done. And I'll insert one photo there for you, George. There you go. Ding. Yeah, so I want to get that ticked off. And then the next thing on my list to sort is the tip of the mountain of problems that I've had, which was obviously Lycus.
I forgot about that.
Oh God, that's a throwback.
So I feel like I can't start something new
Until they're all ticked off.
until those loose ends are done and they're not flummoxing me anymore.
I think that's a good...
you can't say flummoxed again because now you've negated all of the impact. It had
He
the first
likes
time
the
round.
compliment, though.
Yeah.
That's our fault.
I'm not going to say
That is our fault, to be fair.
I'm not going to say that word probably for another decade. So I've got two uses of it out there. But no, all jokes aside, I want to get those two things ticked off and done. One, because Simon's been very patient. Thank you ever so much, Simon.
What's it been, 2 years probably you've been painting this model?
I mean, it might, I don't know, there or thereabouts.
I get stick for painting slow, but that is unprecedented.
Yeah, to be fair, I have had lots of things that have kind of got in the way. We do lots of painting challenges on here. I do lots of models that I paint on here. Like, so there's Scenic's launch. There's lots of things obviously that have happened, but I'm dealing with it now. Okay, I'm past it now. All right. Okay, and I'm going to get that sorted and done. So I'm really close to finishing that, and then I'm going to get Lycus done and get her finished, and then I'm in open, uncharted waters. I can pick something.
You'll be unflummoxed.
Yeah.
I like the idea that potentially you snapping the cape was part of your vendetta for detachable capes. Like, were you trying to remove it?
Oh, that's a great. You segued my.
Were you trying to
perfectly.
remove the cape and it
No,
snapped?
it was
or-
not. No, it was just a bit difficult to handle while I was painting.
I thought
it.
you were like, oh, this cape. Tried
No.
to pull it off and then
No.
didn't get.
No, it was just a little bit. It was a little bit difficult to hold and manipulate.
We have some exciting news for you from Corvus Belly, who have got an awesome new introductory battle pack for their skirmish game Warcrow called Song of the Dormant, We've got the box behind us. We're going to take a look inside. James, you was eyeing up some of the models.
Yeah, so the signs of the Yaldabaoth look really good to me. There's a spellcaster character called Breath, or as I like to call her, Smoke Lady.
Yep, all morning, Smoke Lady is what's been said.
She's got
not
smoke
breath.
and
We
she's
had to look
lady.
that up.
What
That's
else?
true. That's true. But that does come in quite handy, actually.
Yeah, what's
Because I've had my eye on the Knight of the Holy Relic. So if I can actually manage to paint a model or two, maybe we'll have a game.
Have a Bosch. Yeah.
You are back into your gaming now.
I am, yeah, I am back into my gaming.
They've actually had some recent new rules updates as well. So the games only take up to like 60 minutes now as well, which is really cool.
That's quite good, actually.
Yeah, and there's everything you need included in the set, like all the dice, the game mat, all the stuff. So.
That's sick, yeah.
Scenery.
Scenery as well. Yeah, of course. And then it'll be available online on Corvus Belli's website from August 29th. There'll be a link down in the description, so check it out if you're interested.
On the topic of optional capes, we have a hallelujah moment.
Oh, I did see this actually, yeah.
So the new Captain Centos model came out.
Came
Yeah,
out a couple
the
of
limited
weeks ago
edition
now at
one.
this
You had to
point.
go down the shop and pick it up, etc. I managed to get one, very fortunately. I went to Chelmsford GW and picked one up, and I can confirm it has an optional cape. So I'm a very happy man. Very happy man.
Yeah.
Most capes are optional.
No, they're not on.
They
all of them.
normally are.
No,
No,
there's
they're not.
so many
No.
that are like half sculpted on a shoulder pad, for example, and then there's like a. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
do know what you mean, but they are...
I've
generally
personally dealt with more non-optional capes than optional capes, I would say. I don't know if that's mostly just because Dark Angels and Death Guard are my two things that I've dealt with, and they tend to not have the optional.
It's normally a named character thing. Normally if it's like a generic choice,
yeah.
like a captain or a lieutenant or something.
I can remember the Deathwing, the old Deathwing box had an optional cape for one of the types of models.
Do you know what the bizarre part about all of this is? James is like all of a sudden on this big movement about removable capes. He uses the cape anyway. He just wants to paint it separate.
I'm not going to on Centos. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. But I'm going to leave that, park that there, because I'm going to do something very special with him. So I'm going to park
All right.
that. I'm
Okay,
gonna-
leave that for now.
Yeah, I've got something very, very special planned for that model. So
It
yeah,
is a cool model.
it is an amazing
I
model.
know. Look, I know it's just another Space Marine captain. I know that, but we like Space Marine captains, don't we? We all like Space Marine captains.
It's great.
I
Do you?
like a Space Marine captain.
It's great.
Well then,
I like the model. I tried to get one. Couldn't get one.
It is literally, for me, it's perfect. Optional cape, and it comes with a back banner. Can't go wrong with that.
I do like a back banner.
Can't go wrong with that. It's
I like
great.
a back banner. I like a short back banner though. It's got to be like the more squarish one, you know, a bit more proportional.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I quite like with say the newer Stern Guard.
Perfect banner.
Yeah, because it's like almost the same size as the old banners, but just on a bigger model, and that I think is perfect. It used to look a bit silly on the older models because the banner was like as big as the dude, but
I love it. It's great.
yeah.
So yeah, but no, that was good. So I managed to grab one of those. So that's really my hobby update. I'm surfacing. I've done the submarine. I've gone to the depths.
And emerged with some siege scenics and some will to paint.
Everything's coming up Millhouse. So yeah, looking forward to it.
How the Mordians coming on?
I mean, I've got a lot of weight on the
They're
the
pulling
surface.
you back down.
Yeah, on the surface, I've got a lot.
All these metal models weighing
Yeah.
you back down to the bottom.
I'm surfacing. We'll see. Like that, we're in the second half of the year, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
He dove to about 12,500 feet and he's currently at about 11,500 feet.
Yeah. Well, it's progress, isn't it? It's progress.
Yeah. Progress is progress.
Have you got any hobby updates?
I have.
George?
I have.
Painting some Blood Angels, I assume.
We was talking about this before we started recording. Everyone's like, oh, George is so slow. He's only painted like 2 Blood Angels this year or whatever, which is fair.
Yeah. He sees your comments.
I do
guys.
see the comments, but they skip the bit of like all of the commissions that I'm painting. They skip all of them.
Yeah, we don't really do any, do you, anymore? You sort of like, you sort of think you're too big for it.
That's a low. That's a low blow.
Yeah, I'm doing one of those every
No,
like,
I know.
normally
Yeah, I
every
still
month.
give you fairly regular commissions, don't I?
Which
You've
I'm-
always got one on, at least one on. Like,
Normally, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm painting those.
I'll
you know?
give you props because that recent space shark that you painted was fantastic.
Yeah, cheers.
I've forgotten his name now.
The
Tiberius the Red Wake.
Tiberius the Red Wake.
Yeah,
the custom service
yeah, that
one.
was
Yeah.
great. That was
Yeah,
really
done
good.
that a while ago. Others.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But you're working online at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing Anne the Lion.
What a treat for you.
I mean, how biased is that? Joe, big Dark Angels fan, getting the Dark Angels painted.
It's for me. I'm the client. I booked it in. No, it's. I mean, what a treat for you to get to paint the best model that they've released in God knows how long, and the best
Allegedly.
character in Warhammer. How are you feeling painting it?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm surprised they haven't done one yet. To be fair,
Have you not?
no,
I would say the Lion might
probably the
be
most popular.
might be
model
the
we do,
most might be the most booked in character
Yeah, I probably agree. Yeah.
that we've done.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when it came out, it was like straight away.
We had a run of them.
really
Yeah,
high
yeah.
up. Like everyone went in for it.
We'd have like
understandable.
8 in the office at any one given time. It
Yeah.
was very confusing.
Yeah. So I sort of cycled through everyone.
Yeah.
It was like everyone gets a lion.
You're like Oprah Winfrey. You get a lion. You get a lion.
Yeah.
You get a lion.
And then then it died down a bit, and then sort of
They're still popular. I mean, we
come
still
back.
get them.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get
for sure.
semi-regular ones all the time, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, now it's your turn.
Yeah. I'm doing
How you finding
the
it?
traditional take on it. Box arm.
Yeah,
box
it's cool
art
because
armor.
it's gold level, right?
Mhm.
And it's box art, like matching the box art effectively. And gold level is our box art quality, so it's literally just mirroring the box art, which is what you're all about.
I'm doing
isn't it? So-
okay so far. It's a bit of a. I was a bit worried about it because it is quite a complicated color and style.
I'll tell you what, there's
but-
no optional cape on him. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all,
No, he's all cape.
It's all
He's all
cape.
cape.
It's
I
all-
would say as well.
There's no optional anything on him. It was when I was
Yes, there
building
is.
it.
It's got 4 heads. What are you on about? No option. It's got 4.
No, I mean in terms of when I was putting it together. I'm a sub-assembly guy, TSA.
Yeah.
The problem I had was the bits I wanted separate to make them attach. You need some like other bits that need to be on other bits.
Yeah.
So basically, I had to just not build the model.
Just do.
So I sort of just took all the parts off,
painted it on
cleaned
spray.
it all up, and then blue tacked some of it together, and then sprayed it and airbrushed it and whatever, and then started all the brush painting. And I've just got it in like a million bits. It's like a Lego kit. Because if I attach, for example, the cape, I have to leave off because I want to do it separate.
Yeah.
But to leave it separate, I also have to leave the shoulder pads off. And if I want to leave the shoulder pads off, I have to leave off the lion pelt thing. And then the backpack like goes into the back of that, so you've got to leave that off.
Yeah.
And then, well, I want to do the head separate, but that means you need to leave the neck
I
off.
feel like that's like, par for the course with these sorts of models, though. These like intricate centerpiece character type.
Don't know about that. I'd do Gulliman in one piece.
Yeah, but he's rubbish. No, I'm joking.
Great model. I like Gulliman. I think
You
it's
got
a great
Gulliman next, actually, didn't you?
True. I've done a Gulliman before, though.
Yeah.
I've done a couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
model. Great model.
Yeah.
The
So
recipe's fun, though. It's quite a bizarre mix of stuff. I mean, I had a little bit of a dig
I
online.
would
as you
say
do,
as
but-
well. I remember when there was a lot of talk of that box art color scheme and paint job just because it was so good,
Max painted that one, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
and it's just so fantastic.
It is on another level.
I remember, I think I mentioned before when we were at Warhammer Fest, and they had it blown up, like the image blown up, like to like
Almost-
20
almost
feet.
full size, yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was supposed to be for the full size of a Primark, right?
Yeah.
So it was like God knows how many feet high. And I remember there was a bunch of us just like staring at it and being like, I would be absolutely petrified of having my model blown up that tall. But you could go up to it literally and like you could see how perfect all the things were on it. Like it was crazy. So yeah, it's a tall order to. I think even within box art painting, that one sort of stands. There's like almost another tier where a few of them make it through to like a separate. Do you know what I mean?
I'd
For the
say like
centerpiece
Sanguinor and
yeah, like the centerpiece characters get like this extra step, and that's one of them, I think. So
yeah, been good fun. Other than it being in a million parts, and it's
Yeah.
a bit slow, but no, I've been enjoying painting the armor and stuff. It's coming together slowly. It's just one of those projects that you just chip away at and chip away at and chip away at. Then eventually it's all done, and then I enjoy it for about 8.5 seconds, and off it goes.
and then into the office, yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast, then there's no doubt that you're looking to improve your miniature painting skills. And what better place to start than to learn techniques directly from industry professionals with the Siege Studios Patreon. As a member, you'll gain access to our entire catalogue of masterclass video tutorials with exclusive content going far more in depth into painting techniques than you'll find on YouTube, hundreds of easy to follow step-by-step PDF tutorials, and the ability to get dedicated video feedback on your miniatures so you'll always know what skills you need to improve next, plus tons of other additional benefits all bundled for the same cost as just a few pots of paint. So what are you waiting for? Take the next step in miniature painting and improve your skills by heading to patreon.com/Siege Studios.
You got something you want to bring up, haven't you?
Yeah, so I haven't really written any notes for this or anything, so I'm going to just sort of...
Well, I'll tell you what,
wing it.
based on your copying of the intro, I think you'll be fine.
I'll
imagine it's me.
I'll do this as George and just completely ruin the shout out.
When you've done it, George has then got a copy.
No, so where do I start with this? So I have a couple of friends, Aaron and Amy, and they've started this kind of non-profit organization called Rise Above Cancer. Amy was diagnosed with a fairly rare type of cancer, I think a few years ago, while she was pregnant. And it was all obviously a very traumatic time, and she's had different chemotherapies and things like that since. And I think she's now at a point where they are managing it. They can't really get away from it at the minute. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but and in doing that, she decided to set up this Rise Above Cancer kind of social media pages as just a way of communicating her story with it and connecting with other people that have dealt with different types of cancer, and kind of using it as a platform to open up those conversations. And we've spoken a lot about hardcore music and things like that on the show before, and both Amy and Aaron are into hardcore. And I went to a festival a couple of weeks back now, and they had a little stand there, and I got chatting to them a little bit more. And we have loads of mutual friends, but hadn't really connected that well, like that much before. They're based in Wales, and it was just really good to have a chat to them and get to know like the ins and outs of why they're doing what they're doing. And for me, don't think I've ever mentioned this on the podcast before, but I've had cancer in the past, so it was like I really strongly understand where Amy's coming from with regards to the sort of stigmas about having those conversations and stuff, because I notice whenever I bring it up, brings the mood down a little bit, and not everyone is like that well equipped to talk about it because of their own experiences, like or lack of experience. Like some people have never experienced it, luckily, and they then don't really know how to talk about it and stuff like that. But for me, even just getting to chat to Amy for a little bit, and we were both just sort of chatting about what, we were literally waiting for a band to come on, and we were just chatting about like my experience with chemo and her experience and this and that. It was just really nice. That's kind of what they're trying to promote. So in doing that, they're doing a lot of like fundraisers for different kind of smaller cancer charities that have helped Amy and other people. So they're putting on gigs, and all the money goes to these different fundraisers, and all this type of stuff. It's mostly about raising awareness. So if I could just point everyone towards the link in the description, they've got an active fundraiser at the minute, where Amy's doing like 100-kilometer trek, and that's going to a specific charity. But there's loads of different ways to get involved, even just like following the page. So they've got like a link tree, and I'll put a link to that. And there's merch. There's, like I say, if you're in Swansea or near Swansea, they're putting on gigs. There's loads of stuff to check out. I just wanted to shout it out because
of course.
It was really nice to chat to them, and they're doing some really cool stuff. So
yeah, and it's a super important thing. And obviously, I know you divulged something which you haven't spoken about before on publicly on here. And but yeah, it's a super important thing, and like charity is very close to my heart, and also us as a company. And yeah, I just think it's important that we make aware of that. So yeah. Yeah.
So I'd implore everyone, following the page is free. So go and do that at very least. And then if you can, buy a t-shirt or attend one of the gigs, or just put something over to the fundraiser that they're doing at the minute. I'd highly recommend it, and I'd appreciate it as well. So thank you very much for allowing me this time. Let's get into talking about how I don't paint any models again. Let's go back around.
Just a reminder, that was Joe speaking to all of the audio listeners that time.
Yeah. And now I'll do the full thing in George's voice for everyone. The full shout out once again.
All right, topic for this week. I haven't really thought of a succinct way to say this as such, but it's okay to want to get better at painting.
Yeah.
This is one that you brought up, actually, Joe.
Yeah.
On the back of some comments and stuff.
Well, I think here's the thing. We've had this a few times, I would say. And it gets leveled at all of us to a certain extent, I think for different reasons. But I think when people pick the odd episode to tune into, and they hear us talking about ways to get better and be more productive and stuff like that, it triggers some warning lights, because it's, you know, three blokes on a podcast talking about productivity, and the kind of diary of a CEO alarm goes off, and everyone kind of, some people can feel a bit like it's pushing the hustle culture, grind set culture type thing into the hobby, which is not the aim and not where we're ever coming from. So I thought, not that we get loads of comments like that, but we've had a few.
I think it's not necessarily a reaction to all the comments. It's just the comments triggered a bit of a thought and a conversation.
As they do, you know, loads of our topics have come off the back of like even a single comment that we've received, just because it sparks an idea for a conversation. So yeah, I wouldn't say that this episode is like a reply to the haters or anything, because often actually even the people that do comment stuff like that aren't like haters. Do you know what I mean? They are just sort of pointing things out. And I think it sparked a conversation initially between us two in the office, and then I was thinking, we could probably do that on air and just have a little, you know, express some thoughts on that sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny as well? Actually, we'd planned this topic last week, and over the weekend I was just like scrolling through socials as you do. There was this TikTok video that came up that, like, you know, occasionally one like almost interrupts you. Yeah. Like actually makes you think, and you're like, I was meant to be just like doom scrolling here. Don't make me think stuff. Yeah. But it was this video, and it was this guy talking about how like it's okay to be like rubbish at hobbies, and not every hobby you do has to become like a side hustle or like a business, or like you don't have to go like all in or learn how to get better at it even necessarily. And there's a lot of people say they have this issue where like, I've got like too many hobbies going on, and like you kind of get a bit of an idea for something and you sort of dabble in that, and then you start dabbling in this other thing. You're never really finishing anything off. And this guy was just kind of trying to shed some light on like hobbies are just meant to be like fun. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think part of the reason I wanted to do this episode was to reinforce that idea from our point of view, because we obviously agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think not everyone thinks we agree with that. Like, not everyone realizes that we are like, yeah, obviously do this the way that you want to do this. Nothing we're saying is like, this is how it must happen. Like,
well, and even if you listen to enough of these, you'd see how our opinions have not only changed over time, but changed based on where we're at any given moment.
Yeah, I'd say they broaden as well. Like they do fluctuate and broaden. The best way for me to explain this is like fine dining. Okay, you might fancy a cheeky Nando's on a Friday night, okay, which is perfectly fine. And I'd say that like your fun painting is that. But then you do get the odd occasion where you feel, or that maybe you do enjoy going out and eating like a more, I don't know, prestigious or better or restaurant or something like that. That's what you're kind of like pushing yourself and doing stuff that's outside of what you normally do. Does that make sense?
So it's okay to try both.
Yeah. Why would you not? Like, do you know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing, like sometimes when you like, painting and cooking are very, very, like they correlate really, really well. You can make something really quick at home and eat it really quickly, or you can spend time planning, prepping it, looking at ingredients, like trying stuff, seeing how it affects the taste or all the stuff that's involved with that side of it. And that's no different to painting. I don't think that's any different at all.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I brought this up before when we were talking about something. When we were talking about I think I was trying to. It was in the commission painting episode, and we were talking about the way people react to like you deciding to charge money for painting models and things like that. And I said I was trying to think of a hobby that is just completely normalized.
You said cooking,
that you can make a career out of, and no one gets like jealous or no one gets like a bit weird with you. And I said cooking, and someone commented saying like the difference is like, you need food to live. You don't need Warhammer to live. And I was like, well, speak for yourself. But like, I get that I do get that point as well. But the necessity of the thing or like how essential the thing is wasn't really the point of the
No.
comparison. It was
Yeah,
just the fact it can be a hobby.
Yeah.
I
mean, yeah, like I think it also depends on like mood. Like sometimes like I have a busy week and I'll come home in the evening after work one night and I'll be like, do you know what? I know I've got this thing I'm putting loads of hours into, whatever, but like I just fancy just blocking something in or making something or anything like that. And that for me, it really, I think it does depend on mood, and it depends on sort of like how almost the day you've had or like things like that. Like some weekends after a long week or a bit of a heavy week or whatever, like I just don't want to sit that focused doing something. I still want a hobby, but I don't want to be in that intense kind of like I'm doing this to paint the best I can, or I'm doing this thing because it's a commentary, or I'm doing this because like I have to do this a certain way.
I think that's, from you especially, probably quite important for everyone to hear who listens to this, because I think you are the sort of king of the paint your best and do this and do this and do this.
Need to a sharper, cleaner.
Yeah, the Daft Punk thing.
Yeah.
Harder, better, faster, stronger. But like, I think when you say that a lot, people, maybe not entirely, like not blaming everyone who gets it wrong. Like sometimes maybe it can be put across a bit better, but I think they think you're saying that's the only way to paint.
No, totally
and
not.
That's never what you're saying.
No, never. I mean, like, I don't really want to put like a percentage on it, but like, I would say, being honest with myself, I would probably say that the percentage of me painting, I always try and paint smooth, sharp, neat, clean, etc.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
But even within the realms of thinking that, you can still do that on something that's just for fun and it be fun. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
I do. Well, that's a point that I actually wanted to touch on as well, is what we have is like, I think the broader context of this podcast is we really wanted to lay it out as something that people would come to if they wanted to improve.
Yeah.
Since we've found out that they stay mostly for the nonsense chat, but
which is, you know, user error, really.
Yeah, but within that, you know, when we started the podcast, the whole point was we wanted it to be a dedicated thing for people that wanted to improve their painting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So naturally, the way that we spoke about painting was from the point of view of the people we're talking to want to improve.
Yeah. It's like you don't go on a painting class, you just sit there. You go on the painting class because you want to improve.
Yeah. And like, if you want to improve at something, you do need to start looking at certain aspects such as productivity and all this, which is the red flag, the thing that sets the sirens off, right? But like the context is within, like, we're not saying to people who don't already want to improve, this is how you need to think about painting.
No, totally.
Like people who are happy to just sit there and paint and enjoy it, we're not trying to turn their head and be like, that's wrong, listen to this.
No.
Like, the context is within a thing of like, we are talking to people who actively want to improve, and their version of enjoying painting is to take it more seriously and improve.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like,
well, I remember we had a comment once, and it was like, "Oh, George and James treat painting like competitive sports," which I thought was quite funny and a fair comparison. But contextually within the podcast, that might be what you perceive. But the way we enjoy the hobby isn't everything that we vocalize through this microphone.
Exactly.
Like like you said, we have people ask us questions about how do I improve, how do I get better, whatever. So we try to formulate all of our advice and channel it through a podcast episode. But that doesn't mean that whenever I'm at home, the only thing I'm ever doing is doing those things.
I think,
yeah.
like for example, I think I mentioned it in another episode. I don't know what episode it was now, but I think I mentioned it. Like I think it was either a really hot weekend like last year, like when it was like 40 degrees, when everything was, all the fields and everywhere were catching fire and everything. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I literally was like, I just don't want to, I don't want to paint because of the heat, and I don't feel in the right place to paint, like, you know, for what I was painting at the time, whether it was a commentary or maybe one of the myriad of army projects or whatever it is I was working on. And I just sat and made bases, like those trench bases. And that was purely just like a bit of fun, doing something a bit different. There's no kind of like, oh, I'm trying to improve, get faster, need to sharper, quick. There's none of that behind that. It's literally just like, I'm just going to sit here, cutting coffee stirrers and scouring bases and sticking bits of scenery down and working around them and all that kind of stuff. And that's another way that I've done something that's still creative and ticks that box of creativity that I needed, or that I felt that I wanted.
But you also just had fun
exactly,
in that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't going to have fun doing the stricter
grind set.
Yeah, exactly.
And you went, well, I'm not going to do that because that's not fun at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and do this, which is fun right now.
It is taxing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, especially, I mean, any irrelevant myself completely. You speak to anyone who enters competitions, or you speak to anyone that's constantly trying to push their painting. It is a grind. Like, sometimes, like if you're doing something you really don't want to do, it's the worst time to do it when you're in that negative mindset about it. And ultimately, you should. With all the things I've said about neater, sharper, smoother, clean, you should still be having fun while you're doing that. I just want to caveat that.
And also, if you don't find that fun,
don't do it.
Don't do
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
That's the exact thing that I wanted to kind of get across. Is like often the counter argument to if we say something that's along the lines of like a productivity thing, or like something that's seen as like taking it too seriously or whatever, is like, oh, can't people just let people have fun or something? And it's like, well, yeah, and this person, or like the person who's listening to this, or the person that's doing that, that's their version of fun. Yeah, like they are enjoying improving. They are enjoying entering competitions. All these competition painters who like have won multiple Golden Demons and Slayer Swords and stuff like that, and all these other competitions, they didn't just accidentally like get good. Like they put a lot of work in and a lot of hours in and a lot of like actual kind of critical thought into what they're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that sometimes comes up, especially from you two. But like people like take that as a negative, and it's like, well, no, that's just part of that side of it. And if you find that side of it fun, that's something you're going to enjoy. But if you don't find that side of it fun, then don't do it. It's fine.
In the same respect, like, I've got lots of people that I'm acquaintances with, or I'm friends with, that are like high-end painters, and I know for a fact that they're not the same as myself. They're not in that mindset of that all the time.
Yeah,
like there are plenty of those people will literally just paint something really just for the sake of painting it, and there's no kind of end goal of it being this prolific thing. Do you know what I mean? But that thing that you said there about like how you explained it, it's classic Everest. Or classic iceberg should be actually the thing I said. But you only see what's above the waves. You only see the thing that's presented on socials. You only see that thing. You don't see any of the thought process that goes behind it, or any of the trials and tribulations that are involved with getting it to that point. And it's not portrayed. I don't know anyone that, like, I don't really know many people that post, and when I read the caption or read the description, that they're posting it going, oh, this is just me just messing around, blah, blah, blah. I don't really see that very often. You just see quite a post that's literally like, oh, I've really tried on this one, or really tried to do this. So it shows that there's like an interest or desire for someone to produce something that's like better. Does that make sense? But like, yeah, I think it's a case of just maybe, I don't know. I think if everybody just potentially put more in their social posts, oh, this is just me messing around or whatever, people maybe might not take it so literally as it's this thing that they're trying to create and craft. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think that's the thing. I think talking about it more is actually quite important to the whole this wider conversation, and actually being more open about that.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate as well, I think we kind of touched on it already, but like, I think it's also fine to be the other way, in the sense of me personally, I have the most fun when I'm trying to, like, it's almost like a game. Like, how can I min-max this and be more efficient? And how can I get this done quicker? And how can I paint that to look better than the last model that I painted?
Exactly.
That, for me, is a delightful time.
That is the fun. That is you painting for fun.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I think people miss sometimes, is like, because they don't find that fun, they think that that's not fun for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Do
you get what I mean?
I
do, it's a bit odd, really. It's like you get it in music a lot, or like where people, someone might talk about this X band, and there's like, oh, that's like rubbish. Why do people like maybe it's Taylor Swift or something. They've got like millions and millions of fans, and then fans of that person will be like, well, why can't you just let people enjoy stuff? Like, why can't you just let people enjoy something? But then they will also like, they're then judging this person for not liking that thing. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's so backwards. Like, no one can just understand that we're all doing it because it's fun, or we're all doing it because we like it. But everyone's version of what that is a bit different.
And that's why we try to get, obviously, variety of guests and stuff on the show to talk about it. And people are like, oh, that person's really opened their eyes. And it's like, well, they might have, but also like, we do understand.
We like them, and we like their attitude towards painting. The funniest thing is when obviously I don't do many of the guest episodes, but the funniest thing is when you have like a more hobby leaning person on, in terms of like they're not a competition painter, and the amount of comments that we get where they think that it's like some gotcha against YouTube, like the Tommy episode, for example, I thought was fantastic, and I thought it was excellent because it was like two very firm ideas and places kind of meeting in different ways and chatting about different things, and there was no judgment from either side on the other one's opinions. And if something does open your mind that you didn't think of before, either Tommy said it or you said it, and it was in the moment.
Yeah.
And there was no like there's no like gotcha. Do you know what I mean? But like sometimes on those episodes, they'll get a comment where it's like, yeah, they really schooled the Siege boys or something like that. And it's like, they didn't know. It was just like three people having a chat about painting and enjoying it. Do you know what I mean?
What if I told you can easily take the basing on your miniatures to the next level? Well, now you can with the new basing range from Siege Scenics. Siege Scenics is dedicated to helping you create immersive and realistic environments for your miniatures that feel both alive and dynamic, whether you're setting the stage for your tabletop battle or telling a rich, unfolding story on a competition display. From the lush hues of summer grass to cold alien landscapes, Siege Scenics has you covered with expertly crafted and innovative products that capture the ever-changing beauty of nature and let you bring it straight to your miniatures. To see the full range and upgrade your bases, head to siegescenics.co.uk or check with your local retailer.
I want to touch upon go back to the thing you said and just touch upon like the fact I said about like enjoyment and having fun and stuff like that. I think this all boils down to almost like thing that I do when I first sit down, which is I literally, when I know I've got a session or I've got some time to actually do some hobby, I rather than just jumping straight in on the first thing that catches your eye, actually just thinking to yourself like, how am I feeling and what do I want to achieve? I think those questions are actually really, really important because it kind of steers how you're going to use that time and also what you're going to get in return for that. If you've got this thing that's sitting there that you put God knows how many tens and tens of hours into it, you might have only put that down the night before, and maybe you need some time. I always say fresh eyes is a good thing, but like maybe you need some time for it to brew for a little bit before you do the next part, or maybe you're putting something on to the wayside that maybe you don't want to tackle straight away or whatever, like, you know. But I think I genuinely think just sitting there for 30 seconds and just going like, okay, cool, I've got an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Like, what am I going to get done? What do I want to get done? What my fit? Sometimes I'll sit down and there'll be like all this sculpting I've got to do, like on like models and bits and bobs, or like if I've got to do join some bits together, whatever. There are some days where I can't be bothered to sit there and play with putty. I genuinely can't. Like, it's like it feels like the worst. I just genuinely cannot be bothered to do,
because that's a challenging thing.
Yeah,
for
I'm just like, do you know what? I just can't be bothered. I just want something easier, an easier win for me, so I can go away at the end of the session and go, yeah, cool. I've
something
got
that you're going to enjoy right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think like having that time to actually go, cool, okay, I'm feeling like this, or I've had a stressful day at work, like, you know, or the kids are driving me nuts, or whatever. Okay, I don't fancy doing that. I'm going to just do this because it'll chill me out and it will just do this. And that could be anything. Do you know what I mean? It could be cleaning your brushes. It could be organizing your desk. It could be whatever, like, you know. Yeah. But I think that more conversation about that kind of mindset and that kind of like approach to stuff is actually beneficial for people. So it removes this like facade of like, oh, it's got to be like this all the time. It's like, it's not like that. Yeah. Like, it's not like that.
But we've never said it's like that all the time. I think, in fairness to people that stumble upon the podcast, especially older episodes, I would say that we were consciously, obviously, setting the podcast out to be about improving at painting.
To a point, though. I mean, even on the early shows, we had like silly game shows. And
I would say,
right.
I would say, yeah, I think literally the second episode is I first spoke about just painting for fun. Yeah. And kind of being and you've said the whole point that I'm on here basically is like to give a counterpoint to that sort of thing as well, because I'm not entering competitions and stuff. So that has been there from the beginning, but I would say at very least we did, because we wanted to establish the podcast, right, and let people know what they're in for. And it matches the Siege reputation to be like, yeah, this is how to paint some high-end stuff, and this is for people that want to paint high-end stuff. Here's some some like info on how to do that or how we do that.
It's differing perspectives as well, though, because like there's no use in us like saying what's already been said. So like we've got the Siege Studios podcast, we have like all the team of painters, like this is what we do. It would be almost a wasted opportunity for us to come in here and be like, yeah, I just like speed painted this army at the weekend for fun.
Yeah,
But that's not really like speaking to our.
So even if so that's a good point. So like even if we were doing that, like it's almost not what we would deem like valuable to the listeners necessarily to talk about, because you could get that everywhere.
Exactly.
What you can't get everywhere is like us and the context of the company and stuff like that. So it's like we felt like that was the best thing to offer the community, right?
Definitely. And I think like you're quite right. There's been plenty of conversations we've had where like, oh, we should definitely talk about this, or someone's commented and said, oh yeah, like we should definitely talk about that. And I think that's the nice organic nature of like how things have progressed with it as well, which I think is really good. I mean, I wanted to throw this in there, and like he's obviously not here on this episode, but like I think Paul's like the perfect example of like having fun whilst as well as pushing himself.
Yeah.
Look at how like I don't know how long it's been now Paul's been on the show, like when he's been on here.
It's been a long time.
It's been about
over a year.
Over a year.
Mm-hmm.
His painting from when he started to where he is now. I've just seen literally before this episode. I've just recorded this. I've just seen a Space Wolf that he's just painted.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
the other day.
Like his painting is like, I always say this, like the no fear, like just jumping in. That's like perfect mindset and perfect approach to it. But I think if you honestly ask Paul, like, have you had fun with your painting over the last year? He's not going to say no. He's going to say like, yeah, like
he's painting everything that he wants to paint when he wants to paint it, and he's enjoying pushing himself.
Yeah.
So,
but then implementing tips that he's heard that he likes the sound of.
Yeah, not all of them.
Not all of them.
Doesn't feel like he has to do every single one. Like, and he doesn't feel like we're saying do every single one. He's just sort of implementing some of them, the ones that he seems valuable, and then he's still putting his dirty down on it or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's about, right? Like, you just need to. I like the idea that people just take what they want,
snippets
from
it. Yeah,
like
totally.
There's never a podcast where I think we've thought everyone needs to do everything we say on there.
It's really difficult to kind of to tick the box. Obviously, look, there's loads of content on YouTube about painting miniatures, and there's obviously loads of discussions about painting and stuff like that. And I think we try and do a really rounded approach to it in general, whilst not trying to get cross the stream, so to speak, with like opinion and fact. And I think that's quite important. And like, what I've always wanted to do with this is just give some people watching it the best resource that we can provide for people that maybe want to think about painting differently, or maybe are looking for a different way to on a different path to go on with their painting, or all this kind of stuff. And then like, if there are like the hobby hacks, or if there are like little tips and all these kind of things that help, then that's ultimately what it's about. And like all of those things, there could be a tip or it could be a hack that improves that person's experience of painting just because they've listened to this. Does that make sense? So like, it's actually quite difficult to tick all the boxes for every type of person that's watching this. And I think that's one of the really hard things about the conversations we have. It's trying to keep it as rounded as possible.
Well, also while trying to be our individual, honest, flawed selves,
exactly,
and not being like that YouTube guy, and we're like trying to put on this like
persona,
Mr. Rogers persona.
Yeah.
Because me personally, like, I like learning stuff. Like, I like wanting to get better at stuff. So I don't want to come on here and
such a nerd.
But like, that's fun for me. And I don't want to come on here and like pretend that that's not fun for me, to try and like touch grass and like balance myself with the hobby community. Because like, this is what I like. I'm just going to say this.
But the thing is, this is the funniest thing. So like, what you've painted in the last 6 months or whatever, yes, you've done all the commissions and bits and bobs that you've done, etc. But what you've personally painted for yourself is like the epitome of like your fun of painting. You're painting stuff to the best of your ability and pushing yourself as hard as you can, and that's what you enjoy. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like, but then again, you're doing other things now, like the cars, for example. I won't go too much into it.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. We'll talk about it in the post show, the scale model car that I'm doing. But it's like what I say. I just like learning stuff. Whenever I pick up a hobby, like a new thing, I go all in, because it's like I love being at the start of like the hill climb, where everything you hear is new information, and it almost gets like boring when you've been doing it for a while, because you're really having to dig and sift through to find those little nuggets of information, and like not just like retreading old ground, but like when you start a new thing, it's like, I can learn so much new stuff about this thing that I found. Like I said, I'll talk about the scale model car in the post show later on.
What I was going to say was like that is like more, even though you're still learning on it, that's still a fun thing for you. Does that make sense?
Well, and equally to circle it back around, I'm trying to do it to the best of my ability simultaneously, because like I said, that's where I personally
enjoy
have the most fun.
Yeah.
No one's got any sympathy for a type A person with a type B problem. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to hear like, oh, it's so hard for me to relax and switch off because I'm so laser focused and productive all the time. Like, that is a real thing.
Yeah, I would say I was like that a lot when I was your age. Like in terms of, I definitely had. I think I'm like the perfect age of someone who would have got caught up in the 2010s rise of hustle culture thing, and it nearly drove me in. It nearly did. It nearly got me, but I swerved it. And I definitely had that sort of mindset, like with every hobby that I was picking up, with everything I was doing. Like, okay, how can I, maximize my amount of return on this if I'm putting time into it? Everything I enjoyed, there was a thought process behind that. So like, okay, I really enjoy music, so I need to become either a musician, run a record label, or a writer about music.
Yeah.
So at least
all three, ideally.
At least well, I tried all three. I had that with music. I had the same thing with films. Okay, well, I better become an actual like screenplay writer or like something like that, or I better become a critic or something like that. Tried all of those as well. I covered like news, like film news on a website once when I decided I wanted to be a journalist. So like that, it was every interest. Like in the early days of streaming, okay, I quite like playing FIFA, so let's give that a go. Like all of that, like, I'm talking like 2014 or whatever there. Like, so I definitely had that, and I was definitely where you're at now, I think. I don't necessarily regret it. I think I would regret it less if any of them actually paid off. Yours has paid off, but I think that's rare. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have made something out of the one that you picked, miniature painting. You very quickly made something out of it.
It's not the one that I picked. It's the one that
stuck.
Yeah.
Well, you've made something out of it.
Because for like James said with the iceberg thing, for the one thing you see that I'm reasonably decent at and fairly successful with, you don't see all of the failed projects and other pursuits, you know?
Yeah.
Like we'll just gloss over the 8 years of music that I did and didn't go anywhere with. As miniature painters, we all know how important it is to have good quality tools, brushes, and paints. But if you want to improve your miniatures, none of those items matter if you can't properly see what it is you're painting in the first place. That's why one of the most important upgrades I've ever made to my miniature painting setup was my Onyx painting lamp from Native Lighting. Its incredibly bright 2200 lumen, dimmable LEDs cast soft and diffuse light on my workspace. Plus, its highly adjustable articulating arm allows me to finally sit in the perfect painting position for hours on end without any aches or strain. And its daylight colour balance temperature of 6500K gives you the confidence that the colours you're painting on your miniatures are true to life and your miniatures will pop on the tabletop. To upgrade your setup to the professional grade equipment that we rely on here at the studio, head to siegestudios.co.uk/shop or check the link in this episode's description.
I'm going to drop some stuff that I've never probably spoken about before on the podcast, and like I'll explain. So I think there needs to be a bit of understanding.
Let's talk about all the stuff we failed at before.
Before Siege.
No, well, I'm going to just. It's not so much about failures and things. I will drop.
No, failures important,
but I will explain a few bits. So like, I think let's go right back to the mindset thing. The reason why I've always tried to do things the best I can and to the best of my ability And this is, again, I'm not saying this for effect. This is a reality of it. So I'm adopted, okay? And I know the backstory to why I was adopted. I know that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to go into boring details for everybody. But essentially, I'm not meant to be here, which I know sounds pretty deep and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah. But the chances of you being you are 44 trillion to 1, all right, okay?
That's the odds of being a human being.
That's the odds of you being a human being and the person that you are right now in the moment, okay? So I won that lottery already, okay? And there was a potential for me to not exist after winning that lottery. Does that make sense? Yeah. So because I've always known that, or from when I found out, I don't know why it lit a spark in me trying to always do the best I can or do the most that I can. And this is why time is really important to me because, again, I value it hugely. So that's kind of the reason why that whole ethos is kind of overlaid over all the stuff I've ever tried to do, going right back to bands, so like Tides or like Postmortem when I was in them. Like, always tried to do things as best as possible. Always tried to make a stage show the best as possible. Always tried to make our merch the best as possible. Always tried to.
I can attest to that. Like, I knew a lot of those. I didn't know you like extremely well in those times, but we knew each other, and we knew a lot of the same people.
Mm-hmm.
We knew a lot of the same bands, and it was just sort of a known thing that like when James was doing a band, it was run differently.
More of a serious thing.
You get what I mean? Like it was just
proper.
run differently. It was legit, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just that was just sort of a known thing. But because that was just how you were.
The reason I'm saying this or I'm bringing this all up and explaining all of this is to, and look, I love my parents to pieces, or they are my parents or whatever. Blah, blah. I love them to pieces, but like my dad worked in London, had like a city job for many, many years. There was no kind of like wanting to have his own business kind of thing, like this kind of stuff. So like, it's not come from them. That's just me. Do you know what I mean? And like, and I think one of the things that I'm trying to get at is that even with all of that, even with all that now explained about the reason why I suppose my mindset and the way I am the way I am, even with all of that, I still have days where I'm like, you know what, I can't bother to do anything. Like I'm just like, I just want to sit here and dry brush something or make some bases or do this. And I think that's in recent years, that's why the sitting down and the breath before the drop, so to speak, is really important when it comes to your hobby, because like sitting down, you're excited to do stuff and going, actually, going to take a couple of seconds to just go, what do I actually want to do? And that really helped and transformed my personal hobby, because there would be days, even before Siege was like what it is now, I'd come home from recruitment and I'd had the worst day in recruitment, and I'd be painting something for comp, or I'd be painting something for like an army and wanting to paint it the best I can, etc. Blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, no, I can't bother. Like, and I think hopefully that will eradicate anyone potentially that thinks this is all just about grinding and all that kind of stuff. Because it's not. Like, if you want to get through stuff and progress, that's, you can't make a cake without flour. That's what you got to do. You got to put the hours in, you got to put the effort in, you got to put the work in. But at the same time, like, you can still be creative and just not care and just have a laugh. And I think that there's room within all what we do for it to facilitate all the different aspects of fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's probably all I can really add on to that part of the conversation.
I think that's sort of the point of the episode, I guess. Like, because we got people that listen who have all different thoughts on that in terms of what is fun to them. And I wouldn't want anyone to listen to any particular episode and feel like we're saying what they enjoy is wrong on either side of it. Whether we do an episode that's all about dry brushing at some point.
I'd like to do that. I think it'd be good to do that.
Yeah. And then like, I wouldn't want people to listen to that and go, well, they've said on episode 56 that like, you need to do these edge highlights or whatever. Like, I think just getting it out there to everyone to say like, there's all sorts of painting for all.
It's called paint perspective. This is
do you know what? Do you know what?
When we were talking about the name for the show as well, we wanted it to be like as broad as possible.
Yeah,
that's why we're obviously like the original podcast cast, if you like.
Mm.
I think it's just kind of why it worked. Like, we all approach, like, me and James do take things more seriously, but mine and James's approach to painting is incredibly different.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of back and forth there. you're obviously a lot more on like the hobbyist side.
Pro gamer, I don't know.
Pro gamer, obviously.
Yeah, that's
But
what I'm known for.
that's why the balance worked in the first place.
Yeah.
If we was all just sat here like
Well, that is
cookie
literally-
cutter,
it's like-
so you need to sit there and you need to practice 450 brush strokes a day. And then once you've finally done that, you'll be ready to start glazing. And then can you imagine if we all just
It's
agreed
like
with each other?
Yeah.
What a boring podcast.
I know, totally, yeah.
It's like I said to you.
And that's before the barrel drilling competition.
Well, I think we mentioned that before, like where I didn't really see why I was on this at first, to be honest. But then like you were like, well, no, we kind of need you on there.
Yeah, I need someone else to help me take the mick out of James.
Otherwise, it's just me and James talking about like painting high end stuff, and that's boring. No one wants to watch that sort of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll sit down for the first few, whatever. And then like, I think that is the whole point of it, and that's also the reason. I don't know if
do you know why I wanted you on the podcast early on? I don't know if we've ever really said this. There is like a
all I
calculated choice.
All I remember is I was off for a week around the time that you started in the office. I came back and we were now doing a podcast. Apparently, we were going to start next week, and everything had been ordered and everything. And I was like, "Oh right, cool." And then James was like, "Yeah, so it's me, you, and George." And I was like, "Oh, is it? Like, I don't know about that."
Let me explain it. Right. So, do you remember how you said when you did your Chill Team podcast?
Yeah,
It was really just because you wanted your mate behind a microphone.
yeah,
And that was a whole vessel for we
yeah.
need to get this going right.
Yeah.
We'd hung out a little bit before, but right around the time I started working in the office,
We did Warhammer Fest.
We did Warhammer Fest, which was a whole weekend. We had a long road trip and whatever.
Yeah.
And you two would have these just like proper back and forth bickering, like I don't want to say arguments, but like just these like
Yeah.
the way you two are on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I remember just being in the back of the car, just thinking like, this is cold, because I already wanted to do a podcast, as you know,
Yeah.
and like I think I didn't really have an idea of like who might be on it at first, but after hearing you two back and forth, I'm like, no, this needs to be like the lineup.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like I was the one. I know you said you didn't feel like you fitted in the podcast. I felt like I didn't fit in because you two have known each other for so long.
Yeah.
And I'd like just come in here.
No,
and, like,
you come from bands. You're good with us. It's fine.
I think that's maybe an interesting bit of context for everyone. If they want to go back for some reason and listen to the early ones, like those first few episodes, you'd only been in the office like literally a month or something.
Yeah, I think
less
so.
than that.
Yeah.
Probably.
Less than
Yeah.
that. So
yeah.
you and James had spoken more, but we'd not even really interacted that much other than Warhammer Fest. And then like a little bit in the office, obviously. But like it'd only been a few weeks. So that's probably, like an interesting bit of context to add to some of the early episodes.
Pretty much the
quite
way
funny.
me and you got to know each other is documented.
Yeah,
Pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't speak much outside of it.
I do you know what? Weirdly, the majority, I reckon, more of our conversations have been documented than not.
It's probably close. It's probably
If you
close.
think of how many hours of a podcast there is, we don't.
If you
talk-
exclude meetings, definitely.
Yeah, like personal conversations, because it's normally like around work and stuff.
Oh
isn't
yeah,
it?
personal conversations, 100%.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I've
Isn't it?
spoken to you about twice in my life. That sort of work. No, that's not true.
It always leaves me on red. I just say it doesn't reply to any of my. I send him reels all the time. Just doesn't reply to them.
what a load
TikToks,
of rubbish.
everything.
I tell
We're
you
going to start
what.
playing Magic soon, aren't we?
True. Yeah.
I tell you what. I was looking at that Commander deck, the 40k Chaos one.
Yeah. I'm trying to get James on
Yeah,
board.
I was.
Nice.
I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
nice.
Definitely.
We've gone
I've been practicing on Arena.
Yeah.
Trying to learn the rules.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we could do like a. I should talk about that in the post.
Okay.
Actually.
So the other thing that I wanted to touch on to that was that some of the early things that we used to do, as in like some of the game shows and stuff like that, I do want to do more of those again because I thought they were hilarious.
Yeah, I did enjoy those.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the reason they got phased out was because obviously early on, we were spending a lot of time and effort on the podcast, and the return wasn't quite there because we had obviously a much smaller listener base.
what
Yeah.
I
So it
will-
kind of fizzled out a little bit, but there's definitely precedent.
we
to bring
had
it back.
like I think it was like Command Reserve Purge or something like that. That was
Yeah.
really. I would love to do that, but we don't choose. Like none of it. We literally get sent through like a poll, or we have people put in.
Could
like,
we maybe?
Yeah, I would love to.
Maybe
do
we
stuff
could
that.
like, if we had any volunteers from the patrons on Discord,
Oh, I'm sure we can get one of the Discord mods.
and then
doing
if
it,
we
yeah.
can like set them like some parameters of what the game would be. So like the Command Reserve Purge thing, and maybe they could do it, and then it's completely neutral. None of us know.
Yeah.
That
Or
could
what
be
was
fun.
the other one we used to do where we used to have like the two options and it was like,
like just the would you rather.
yeah. I thought they were great.
I do think as well, part of that was because
We had underrated, overrated.
that was
Yeah.
it. That was
Yeah.
amazing. That was
part of
yeah.
that was because initially we wasn't sure how to fill the time with the conversation, but now we do that easily.
Isn't that mental that we used to do half an hour episodes?
I know that was
And
crazy.
we were like, how
And
are we going to talk for half
how
hour?
are we going to fill this?
Yeah, no, it's like an hour and a half, hour.
Can't
and
shut us
45.
up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Off camera, I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's my fault. But yeah,
Was there anything on the main topic that we wanted to round off? Because
No,
we
I
sort
think
of
that was
went on
it.
like a podcast retrospective there.
I quite enjoyed that. It was like therapy.
Yeah.
It was good.
It's good.
Wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah,
Thinking
yeah.
about it.
I'll tell you what.
Been holding this secret for a while.
Yeah.
That you
It's
don't-
time to address the drama.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's funny you say about that with like me and James bickering or whatever. I've got you touched on magic as well, but I've got like a group of friends, and one of them, Joey, I've known since you know him, and he worked here briefly in the storeroom before Paul was here.
He was
during
the
COVID.
previous bitmaster.
He was the proto Paul.
Proto Paul.
And
He wasn't the bit master. He was the bit apprentice.
yeah. He I've known him since he's been like my best friend since we were like 13 or something. However old you are in like year 7, that's where we met.
You're like 11, aren't you?
Yeah, whatever that is. So we're like very similar with that sort of thing, and we went to play Magic with a group of people where it was like me, Joey, who I'm obviously very close with, my friend Reese, who did Chill Team with me, and then it was Joey's friend Dan that I'd met only via like playing online on like PlayStation and stuff. So like COVID Warzone era, had never really met him in person.
What an era, by the way.
Yeah.
Great times.
So we all went to play Magic, and Dan was just like cracking up laughing like at our interactions with each other, and it was all just like completely normal to me. But like he said after, he was like, it's like you're like two brothers, like just constantly just like bickering with each other and back and forth, and just like how you are like no one else sort of thing. It's like exactly what you've just said about us in the car. Maybe it's me.
You're the problem, Joe.
I think it's just me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think that's all that there is to be said.
Cool.
on
I
that
tell you,
for
we
now.
covered some deep stuff in this one.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I like it.
Yeah.
We should do these little like touch base episodes now and then.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, should have saved it for a milestone episode, but
What, you're telling me 114 isn't a milestone episode, Joe?
true. Every episode is a milestone episode. How's about that?
It kind of is. 114 episodes is bonkers.
Yeah.
We just hit 1.5 million views on YouTube as well.
That's
just
what-
the podcast.
That's wild.
Yeah, everything else is a lot more now. But like,
Yeah.
the just podcast only, 1.5 million overall.
and that's just views. Obviously, we have the audio listeners as well, which is in the hundreds of thousands. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts.
yeah. Reminder, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of those places.
Yeah.
You also get the audio a few hours early because it comes out in the morning.
Yeah, so you get the audio in the morning at 8 a.m.
Yeah, because we like to, there's commuters.
Yeah, basically that's it. YouTube algorithm demands we post a little bit later because otherwise it just tanks. But the audio listeners like to listen to it on the Monday morning.
Yeah.
So
And the real fans listen to it in the morning and then watch it at midday. Just saying.
yeah,
The full extended episode as a patron member.
No, they what they do is they
They're
listen.
saying the real
they
fans.
listen on Spotify in the morning when they wake up while they're getting ready.
Yeah.
Background. Then they'll watch it on YouTube with monetization turned on and their ad blocker off. They subscribe to the channel. Obviously, they got the notification that it went live.
Yeah.
because they got the bell rung.
Then after
then
they
after
watch
that-
it, after they watch it, they go and sign up to the Patreon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And they watch the Patreon one from the start.
from the start
all the way to
and
the
they
end.
enjoy it without the ads.
Yeah.
without the
to compare experiences.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once they finish that, they go through last week's episode
Yeah.
and then the week
Just
before,
non-stop.
and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Comment if that's you. I'd love to see like
How long
talking.
would it take to get through them all? There's a lot.
To tie it back to hustle culture and all that, I'd love to see someone do like a morning routine video, but it's them doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like the morning routine where it's like 5 a.m. they get up, like 5:15 they're in the gym. Then
Yeah.
they've got some like
I do my cold plunge while listening to the
detox.
podcast.
Yeah, all of that. I'd love to see that, but it's like woke up at 7 a.m., listen to the audio version at 8 a.m., watch the video at 12, and so on. If anyone wants to make that, feel free.
What slightly related to that, I remember when Spotify done their Wrapped thing that they do every year. And like seeing that we was people's like #1 podcast was quite cool.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
I was replying to everyone saying like, sorry about that. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
How's that happened?
Yeah. It's weird when I see screenshots like that and we're like even in the same conversation as like Joe Rogan. Because it'll be like, here's my Spotify Wrapped. It's Paint Perspective, Joe Rogan.
I don't think we've got like too much crossover with his audience, to be fair. I
Do you not think?
It's just such a big podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, it's just a big podcast.
It's got to be.
So it's got loads of people. No, there was some, there was funny when we used to track the rankings on like the different things. And it would be like, because we got put into hobbies.
Yeah.
All of the ones we were up against was
like Gardener's World, BBC.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Stuff like that. It's like, we've done Gardener's World.
If we hit the algo well, we'd be like number 2.
For like 10 minutes, we would like shoot to the top above all these like BBC ones because they haven't released an episode in a week or something. Yeah, that was quite funny.
I'll take that win.
Yeah, that website.
Screenshot it now, quick.
That website's not going anymore. It's hard to track the stats now. In terms of like global rankings.
Yeah.
RIP.
Yeah, it was chartable.
Chartable.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Well,
I think it got bought and then just closed down.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Thank you, corporate world.
Yeah.
I hope they got a good payout for that. They did some good work. Do you want to close it out there?
Yeah, we can close it out there. Massive thank you for listening to this week's episode of Paint Perspective. Let us know your thoughts and such on the conversation down below. We're going to jump over now to the post show, which is a benefit for our patrons. So if you want to get the extended versions that we just joked about, then link down below for that. Otherwise, thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next week. With this, there's the curveball that has 1 million decals on it.
Yeah.
All right. And that was, to say the least, an absolute nightmare.
How did those compare to Warhammer ones?
They are phenomenal, and they make GW transfers look like